We're jumping right into the action with this one. This is Colossus 12, Pelagia. Pelagia is just the feminine form of the name Pelagius, which means of the sea. That's why we're fighting Pelagia in a lake. I think it's sort of interesting that we went from fighting Colossus, who was associated with fire, to fighting Pelagia, who's associated with water. The only other time we've had to fight a Colossus in water was Hydrus. There was some water in the Avion fight, but it really didn't affect the battle at all. It was just an obstacle that we had to make our way through. Here it's entirely possible that we might need to swim in the water to get onto Pelagia's back. I want to try and avoid that by doing a slightly tricky jump, but first I need to get its attention. Pelagia is one of the few colossi that can attack us with projectiles, showing us that there's still some sort of magical power imbued in all these creatures. I do find it interesting that it's always lightning used against us. It's always a primal force. It's not explicitly some sort of light magic, and it's not dark magic. It's just some sort of natural element. And here we want to jump and grab on. And fall back on our backs. Maybe we can make a second jump. If we avoid that lightning. Oh, the camera is our enemy once again. But I think we might make this jump. Yeah, that's much better. The other way is definitely to swim around and get on its back from the safe route, but I like making these jumps. It makes the game a little bit more fun. It's sort of a test to see what you can and can't pull off with the game's controls. And now, here's the thing that makes Pelagia such a puzzling creature to me. We have these odd sort of bones on its head, and if we hit them, we can actually control where Pelagia goes. We can control it. So if I hit forward, it's going to move the creature forward. Colossus gave an image of the colossi as beasts that sort of had their own emotions and free will. Pelagia is sort of a controlled being. It's hard for me to reconcile those two things, to be honest. So now we've had two colossi that are really challenging what we think about when it comes to our knowledge of colossi. One made them feel more human. This one feels almost like a weapon that could be controlled. And so now we just have to jump to its weak point. This isn't a hard fight. It's going to take us one stab, and then we'll be all set. We had a little bit of trouble grabbing onto its face, but we made it. And once again, the image of this Colossus is still very foreign and strange compared to the animals or humanoids that we've seen before. I like this half of the game, not only because I think the boss fights are a little bit more fun and technical, but also because the areas that you fight in and the creatures you encounter have a lot of real sort of magical charm to them. And now here's a little bit of a change of pace. We actually have a cutscene and some normal story. I want you to pay attention to the main figure that you see here, particularly his mask. We've seen this mask before. You might know it when you see it. Hold on a moment. I'm just letting the atmosphere sort of take hold here. Even the cutscenes can be very beautiful. But you might notice that mask is the one from the beginning of the game, where we got all of our, exposition about the Holy Land. So these are people who are definitely connected to Wander. And the one in the middle, on the white horse with the mask, is definitely important. I don't want to talk too much about this story bit here, but I do like the fact that it impresses another sort of urgency on the player. We know someone's coming, and we want to complete our quest a little faster, because maybe they're trying to stop us. I sort of let that cutscene play out a little bit more because we don't encounter them very often. Honestly, it's also very hard to discuss the people in that cutscene without giving away much of the ending of this game. You either have a lot of sort of really strong scenes happening, or you just have nothing in between. You have story content, or you have the parts where you explore the lands and fight the creatures. Our next Colossus is also going to be a very strange and alien one. It's also amongst one of my favorite fights of the game. Like I said, this second half of the game is a lot of fun. And although I've been talking about symbols and meaning and all sorts of things, and even at times it's sort of been surface level, I do like the fact that Shadow of the Colossus can sometimes just be a damn fun game to play. That was Pelagia, and we'll move on to one of my favorite bosses next. Keep with me, we're almost at the end of our journey.